Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a calculator to support kilt makers making kilts. And today we're going to look at knife pleats. We've done box pleats and military box pleats before, and knife pleats are a bit easier. So in the green in the middle there is the knife pleat. So it comes up, it kicks back, and it goes up again. And then the pleat is the distance in the middle. So you've got to imagine that kind of flattened down, and the pleat is the part that shows, and then the part underneath, if you swish a little bit, you'll see that flashing out. All right, so it's simpler than our box pleats because we had to worry about the gap and all that stuff. This one is basically the pleat, and everything else is the depth. It's sort of like just useful to them to know the depth. If it came out half an inch, they're not going to use it. It's not going to be acceptable. But usually the depth is 1 or 2 inches at least, and it's not 7 inches. So, something. So to do this, we're going to need similar input as we had before. We need to know the set, the repeat distance of the plaid. How many sets are you going to put in one pleat, ranging from a half to 2? Those two numbers give us the pleat fabric, which is their product, and we need to know the ideal hip size. So how much of the backside are you covering with these things? And with the knife pleat, it's very we don't do pleat widths of varying sizes. They normally either come half an inch, inch and a half, 2 inches, maybe some 1/4 inch things in there, but there's only a few choices, so we can go with a more restricted kind of view. And depth is computed. It's basically what's left over after the pleat is taken away from the fabric. So you can see it's fabric. So if you take from the point, like the first peak, down to the bottom left, and then to the next peak, that's the cloth for one pleat. You take how much you use for the pleat, and then the other half is folded in half, so half that gives you the depth. Now we might want to use like pleat width divided by depth to give us a control ratio to control how we draw this thing, or we could start with just a static diagram. All right, we've got some work to do. We have a drawing that looks kind of like the thing in the middle. Actually, I took a snapshot from our app to get that green shape. But we don't have it integrated in. So we're going to focus on what we have to do to make that happen today. Let's see. So, all right, I'm going to backtrack a slight bit. One of the web pages I had up mentioned animatable data, and it's like, oh yeah, I've done that before. Basically, what you do is you make a shape. You give it you tell it what number to key off of, basically, to control the width or whatever aspect of your drawing. So here's our box pleat. And in our case, the gap ratio is what we want to control. So let me run it instead. Okay, so we'll say 6 and 22. Whoops. Okay. Now, as I increase these, they're just jumping. So the number of pleats kind of animates, but the diagram just jumps from one shape to the next, which is not the worst thing, but okay. This notion of animatable data, and you can see our line is animating, but the pleat shape itself is not. So to fix that, you define animatable data as a property you give it, and I guess it must. I don't know if it defaults that or how that gets there, but it knows that if you have it, use it. Okay, so let's try this with this, and I think we'll see it's a bit more animated. It's not a big deal to put in, but I'm just saying, if you want to know what to animate, look at the gap ratio, and if you want to set the gap ratio, and what it's doing is when, like, going from -2 to -1.5, it'll generate intermediate values, like maybe -1.9, -1.75, -1.6, -1.5, and redraw it with each of those intermediate values. All right, so let's see, same one, 6 and 22. Okay. Well, that didn't, okay, there we go. That's definitely looking animated. Okay, it's just a smoother look. Oh yeah, that was interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's a pretty cheap change, and I like it, so we'll keep it. And the reason for doing this, it's kind of to help with your visually. If it just flashes a change, your brain just kind of like, wait, what? You know, and whereas if it's moving between them relatively smoothly, you know, your brain, you know, between your eye and your brain, they get attached to watching the motion, and it's not so unexpected. So I think, you know, from a UI point of view, I can see why we would want it, and it's pretty cheap to put in. At least, you know, we had to put with animation a few times. It was in our PleatView, but you know, for how much work it would be to animate, really, you know, it's really pretty simple. And the other thing about this is kind of this. I don't know if you'd call it React style or, you know, functional reactive programming kind of style, but because the view is a pure function of the display, we can, you know, as long as we make sure the starting and ending points are the right values, we get that we can throw those intermediate values in as we want, and, you know, there's no state being carried over, so it's fine. All right. Okay, so improve animation of BoxPleatDrawing. Come on. All right. Knife pleats. Okay. So so far, we have a drawing. Huh. Why am I getting this message? Kilt CALC. No accent co. Who is looking for that? Accent color, accent color, accent color, color. I don't know who's searching for this. Why it's complaining. Let's trash it. Let's change something. Yeah. Okay, I don't know what that was from. I saw it go by yesterday too, and didn't pause long enough to look at it. All right. At any rate, we have the knife pleat. It takes in this pleat as a float, and that's the only thing it does, and it draws that in there. Okay. We don't yet show the depth. I think I'll just add that to the to-do list. Depth dimension line. All right. I think, I mean, it's adequate. It would be kind of nice if this were shifted over I don't know. This is right in the middle now. That's kind of handy. Okay. So it's okay. I mean, for what it is. All right, now let's go to PleatView. So right now we're just taking a little skim through to try and understand what's going to change when we switch to a knife pleat. Okay, well, one thing is we don't have anything that knows how to switch. Okay, so let's, you know, well, I guess knife pleats are kind of the base name of what we're doing here. Okay, we need to switch between box/military and knife pleats. All right. This is going to be the same. So I think we need to pull out. I think there should be independent state for the tartan because, like, there's no reason to set that over and over. All right. And who knows? We might be able to pull some other tricks knowing the tartan we have. Okay. Now the hip and number of pleats. Well, we will have that. I don't think it'll be exactly the same. Maybe, I don't know. That's a tougher one to know. But pleat shape is definitely different. Okay. I think we're going to need the same structure, but like adjusted hip size is calculated differently in knife pleats. Okay, so I don't know how that's going to come. All right, what else? Total fabric. Yes, that's probably still useful. Okay. Well, I think if we did that much, we'd have accomplished something. So the switching, well, I think I'll make this tartan thing more of a priority. So we pull the tartan out to its own object, maybe do some just cleanup in here. This is, yeah. Okay. Well, this little thing is going to be useful for us for our pleat widths because it's only going to take on a few different values. It's not arbitrary like this one. Okay. And then where's our state coming in? Gosh, this focus thing. Hip style. Okay, that's what makes it red, if it's different. Yeah, it's either gray, black, or red. Okay. That's, I don't know, maybe that, let's pull this out. So I think just in general, some refactoring. Sorry, let's take this out too. So this is adjusted hip style. Okay. Okay, so he has state object. He has the designer. Okay. All right. So I think we need to make a designer coming in. And is this state object is we're declaring it here. Okay. So I want to kind of extract class on the tartan, and then we got to figure out if how the how the value gets to the tartan, because we need it to, the PleatDesigner needs to know the fabric size when that changes. All right, so how can we do this? Well, let's extract object format. Private var tartan design, new object. Okay. And let's make that exist. Let's put it here for now. Tartan design. Okay, and he's a subset of BoxPleatDesigner. Well, I don't need that. Okay, so he doesn't need those equations. Where do I? Well, it's kind of this. He needs the set. This function, I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't think we need this. It's not a constraint to us, really. Okay. Pleat fabric. Yeah. All right, let's needs required values checks. Basically, set is the only one that affects us. Okay, so if set equals nil, return nil. Otherwise, return set times sets per pleat. Now, I don't know the right way to pass stuff. Oh yeah. Between the tartan design and the box pleat design. The on-change stuff got us in trouble last time. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, I can pull this. Oh, he does need slash is pressed. Well, okay. I mean, should Tartan Designer have a pointer to this thing? I mean, pass this by reference to it. Okay, so when tartan design changes, we want to change BoxPleatDesigner. So we're hooking up between observable objects rather than from an observable object to a view. So that's why it's feeling so different. And I'm not sure if that should be mediated by the view. I mean, when this changes, I'm wondering if I should make this field not public or not published, rather. Is an environment that uses that? Well, I mean, environment lets you basically it lets you declare an object and then pass it down to any child that wants access to it. But I don't think that helps. So the scenario I'm thinking of is let's say you change your set. All right, and this is all on a tartan design object. It's our new object. You change this to 6. Well, that affects the fabric size, right? So one 6-inch set is 6 inches for your pleats, and this defaults to 2 and all that stuff. But if it's a separate object, how are we going to get it in there? So, I mean, I think what we can do is say, well, I think we can say if this changes, then set the value on here, but that's I don't think it needs to be a published field per se, but okay. So what am I saying? I'm saying do this on change of, well, designer, oops. I'm trying to find a way to, yeah, it might be easier. I mean, what I'd like to do is put something in about here between these two sections that's selecting which kind of pleats we want. And then that'll determine whether we get the box shapes or the knife shapes. Well, I'm going to do this change and see if it holds. Okay, so the change I'm doing then is I'm going to switch this to tartan. Oh, let's see. I think we're in a green state right now. Well, if I take out that junk. Okay. Well, I'm going to make this go away in a minute. But that's okay. Oh, I got to keep. No, that's tartan. Okay. Yeah. I should be green. Okay, so we extracted, adjusted hip modifier, introduced unused tartan design. Yeah, I mean, it depends how much we if I only have these three and it's just adding a pleat or box pleat versus knife pleat, and so it's 4 tabs, I don't think that's too bad, but I don't think you can really get 5 tabs looking okay on this. And I don't really understand enough. I don't know how close we are to done. This apron pleat thing, we have to build up little tables of how do you divide the waist and the hips between the apron and the pleat. The pleat's the front. Maybe that's all that there's going to be, that's the last major feature. Normally you do that before you do your pleats, so you're sort of designing the distribution of fabric between the front and the back, basically. So a new tab might be okay. But on the other hand, I also think you're kind of here. It's reasonable to consider making either kind of kilt. So in that sense, it's like you want to enter all your stuff and then vary the choice and see what happens. Okay, so let me push through this. It's sort of an experiment at this point. I think I can switch to $tartan.set, and then when you change it of tartan.set, I want you to do something. Well, I want you to say, oh, can I do this? Designer.set equals new value. Okay, so I'm saying if you change the set, then go ahead and tell the designer to change its set as well. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Except it sets per pleat equals new value. Tartan drawing. Whoa, wait a minute. That's not it. It's this. Change of sets per pleat. Change it in the designer. Yeah, that would probably be the way to go. Yeah, I think each designer has its own equations. Okay, so let's see. Do I think this is going to work? Well, that will set this and change the values. It's worth checking. Okay, so I'll set this. This is on the tartan now. This is 22. Whoops. 22. Okay, and he's using that value. If I change this, nothing changes the set. Okay. I mean, the set it really is kind of an independent thing. It's just that the fabric is being used. Okay, so let's scroll up just a little. Okay, I'm going to bump this. Okay, he's changing this. Okay. Yeah, I think that's working. All right, that's how I wanted it to work, and it seems to be working. All right, so I think what that says then is there's this is not going to be needed. It really is just a variable. And the changes is there to do the on-changed stuff. Okay. All right. So make tartan design separate from BoxPleatDesigner. Okay. And what I'm gaining from doing it this way is this doesn't have dependence on that anymore. All right. Well, there's one more thing. Wait, where's that pleat fabric? Oh, well, he doesn't care about. He only consults set. Okay, let's see. Pleat fabric, if set is nil, return nil, otherwise return this. Okay, I think pleat fabric should be set by this. Changing one of these two values should set pleat fabric on PleatDesigner. Okay, so I'm going to make that. Well, I don't know if he's still published. Changing him should change the stuff that depends on him, so I guess he should be published. All right. And then, where's my updates? Designer.pleat fabric equals tartan.pleat fabric. And we don't need this anymore. All right. Designer.pleat fabric equals tartan.pleat fabric. Okay. And make sure I'm still happy with him. He's up here. Okay, we publish the sets per pleat, derive this. Okay, this is always a double. It never changes to nil, so he's fine. All right, and then over here, pleat fabric is now, well, wherever it got off to, is now a variable. Okay, managed by BoxPleatDesigner. All right, so again, I don't think tests can detect this with the tests we have, but I don't want to. Okay. Variables. He's got to check pleat fabric. It's nil. Okay, because we're not looking at set anymore, really. All right. Oh, and there may be some tests that. Let's run it. Okay, so this is 6, 22. And now changing this should change pleat fabric. Oh, something's not there. Okay. Oh, what affects our equations too? Oh my gosh. Fabric. Okay, he doesn't change set, right? He just has hip fabric count width. Okay. So something's funny here when I have done this. So setting this tartan stuff and the hip size is not forcing the width to change. So I've left something out. Well, maybe I can derive it from this. Setting the set. Okay, well, this is not really right. I really should set the pleat fabric here. Pleat fabric is double. Oh. So the test should not need to know set or sets per pleat anymore. Okay, what else failed? I don't think these are all necessarily the same. Okay, well. Now this one is catching something real, I think. Set pleat count sets with. Okay, so let's set the pleat fabric equals 5. Okay, I think this one is catching a real problem. Let's check this one. Pleat fabric equals 12. Right, so we're not adjusting. All right, so let's see. Box pleat. If you change, okay, I think we're going to have to do this now. Sorry, where's set? Because pleat fabric is taking the place, so it should have that. Excuse me. Found nil, so it's not being set. Let's make sure this does the right thing. If needs required variables, set it to nil. Oh, okay. That should not look at set anymore. Whoops, we're trying not to use set. Okay, let's run the tests. All right, this one does not have fabric set, so let's set the fabric. Fabric equals 9. Again, pleat fabric. Oh, okay. Well, I think this is the price of changing that interface. I don't like it, but I don't have a stepwise way to do it. I mean, they do seem to be working correctly once I use the new interface. I probably should have realized that and done all these tests beforehand. Would have been more appropriate. All right, that was all of them, right? Okay, so make pleat fabric a variable on, well, a field on BoxPleatDesigner. Okay, so I think I don't think anybody should be accessing set at this point. So let's find who's using that. Initializes correctly. Well, I guess pleat fabric is what we want to assert there. What is that value? Oh, it's nil. Okay. I guess this is going to be when pleat fabric is missing. Then output variable is nil. Let's see how that goes. Okay. Sets per pleat, updates pleat width. Well, I don't even think that's an accurate description of this test, right? Sets per pleat updates these. We didn't update sets per pleat. So let's see what this test is doing. It's setting, oh, we did set pleat fabric. Hip is missing output variables. Okay, so fabric equals 7. Okay, makes that count about set. Okay, so usages of this should be gone. Okay. All right, so nobody's referencing this. I hope. All right, so delete set from BoxPleatDesigner. All right, and then this nobody should be using. All right, we'll take out that test. Sets per pleat. All right, and then PleatView. Well, we've got it over here. Tartan drawing. Designer should be tartan. Okay. And then finally, this should not be referenced. We've done enough that I want to see it manually too, because we're doing stuff in the view. Okay, so 6:22. Oh yeah. All right, changing this. Changes those. Whoop, double A copy convert again. 6 1/4, 22. What's hip? Tentative pleat width. Fabric is 0. Set required hip, new hip. I don't see how fabric is ever 0. How? Establish non-required variables. Well, that's not terribly helpful. All right. Designer.PleatFabric equals tartan. How is that ever 0? Okay, let me run again. Sorry, new fabric sets fabric. Let's track that. You know, at some point I did self-dot on these. Oh, first I want to replicate, then I'll try my theory. But it said new fabric was 0 too. Okay, so 6, 22. Then I played around with this, and I went down to this. Okay. Now that seems weird to me because I don't think I thought I had this configured to never go less than, oh, in 0 to 2. Oh, that's that half we had before. Okay. All right, so I don't really want to allow anything less than half. But my control does. It just lagged when I pulled it over far enough to hit 0. Use did set. No, I think it's. I thought I had dead code before to do that. On BoxPleatDesigner, we had code on set pleats per set that basically if it was below a half, it set it to a half. Now, oh, this is going to be interesting. Excuse me. The 0, I want the 0 there because it's kind of, visually I want the bar to go to the 0 point. I mean, it's actually a little above it. If you use did set, it will go to 0 temporarily. Yeah. But I don't think will set lets you block it, does it? Objective-C used to, I think, but will set in Swift. Called right before the new value is set. No. I don't know what to search for to get this to pop out for me. So a binding with the set. Ugh. Oh, okay. Well, let's try it on there. Still up in here. See, it doesn't offer a value, so I'm a little skeptical, but if new value, like that, you think? All right, we'll try it, and then I'll write a test for it. Okay, so if I drag this down, no, now it lets me go to 0. Yeah. Well, I think. Let's see. Put 22 in. No, it's still going down to 0. A complete guide. Okay. Variable, yes. Always stores the new incoming value as new value. Okay. Okay. If not valid, username equals old name. That seems like what I did. Okay. So I don't know when did set gets called. Does it get called before it notifies other things? Complete guide, and I still have questions. Okay. Well, I guess you could read the documentation. It's oh, I saw a Hacking with Swift article too. Let's look for will set. That's not helping. Well, it makes me wonder if I can do it on the other. PleatView. Let's try this did set. If it's if it calls did set before it calls any observers so that it resets everything without calling observers, that might be the ticket. But we're definitely going to put a test in for this. I think it's quite clear. It's not intuitive. 6, 22. All right, that was good. There's a half, and I can't drag below a half. Okay. Good. All right. So apparently it is enforcing this before it notifies the listeners on the published. So, all right. Where are we? Okay. I think let's get that test together for tartan design. I think we can pull this out as well. Let's make sure tests are passing. And that was an example of manual refactoring that left off stuff. Because I had that code, I saw it and said, oh, I don't really need that anymore. And I did. If I'd moved it in, it might have prevented this. Okay. Let's take this, make a tartan design. And you will need foundation. Okay. Yeah, I think will set, it like lets you capture it, the old and new value and stuff like that. If you need to make something you could restore or something, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if I've ever used will set for anything on purpose. Okay, so we made new file, tartan design. And I'm going to backfill some tests for it. Okay. Well, maybe I should just check initial values. And pleat fabric. Okay. Well, that sort of implies that other test. Okay, let's says per pleat must stay. My rare 2-in-1 test thing, I think. All right. Good. Okay. I would say I think that is reasonable progress there. Okay, well, let's take a break. 3 or 4 minutes. We'll come back, and I think we're ready to start putting in a chooser to switch between these two pleat types. All right, so see you in a few minutes. Welcome back. All right. Switching between the pleats. Okay. Gosh, I forget what you call those selector radio button things these days. It's not radio button, is it? I think it may be a choice of view types on the radio button or something, maybe. Let's see. Button. No. Huh. Selector? That's not the kind of selector we're talking about. Okay. I think my next toggle. Oh, that's a good choice. I'm gonna have to write a little a comic book of all, like a zoo of controls, because I'm constantly trying to figure out which ones are there. Styling, yeah. We got automatic checkbox switch. The one I'm after is it'll make a strip and then it'll have sort of two choices. Okay, well, we'll play with that. All right, so toggle, let's... Okay, PleatView. I don't know. Maybe this... It's got too much stuff tying it to this place. I mean, I can pull out this. Oh, but yeah, maybe that's okay. Yeah, it's not letting me extract it. Oh, I don't need to make a procedure. Did I make it a var? I did. Okay. Okay, so somehow in here we're going to put a toggle, or whatever this thing is. We need a binding and a label. Now, this is not the one I'm after. Picker, that sounds like it. No. Segmented. Okay, this is the one I want. All right. Okay, what am I going to do? Well, I can have an enum. Oh, you can put variables on enums. Okay. Oh, I've wished for this and didn't know you could already do it. So basically, you're giving every example an ID, which is what we want. All right, selection, text, and tag. Well, I think I can just make them the values I want. Picker flavor. Where's that segmented? Okay, so we'll put this here for the moment. This is Pleat. Styles. String. Okay. And this is box equals box / military. And this one is a knife. Okay, and then here, picker. Plate type. I'm getting that message again. I don't know who would be generating that. Well, you know, this might look better down below. I mean, the pleats, the number of pleats doesn't really matter. Doesn't affect it. But the type is clearly pleat shape. Maybe it's even in here. Yeah. That kind of makes sense. Okay. Now, this stuff, it's like, how do I get the designer in? Maybe designer's not the right name. Maybe it should be BoxPleatDesigner, because that's what he is. We're going to need both. Okay. Okay, so this VStack, right? Let's call this pleat shape section. Oh, that's not really a section. Okay, that build. I think I want to say if selected pleat equals, well, actually I want to do switch selected pleat Okay, I should get TBD. All right. Now the place, I'm on an okay track, I guess, but choosing what to do, this is where it's getting tricky on me. So down here, this box pleat, everything in there is based on designer, as it should be. Because sorry, BoxPleatDesigner. All right, because that's what we have there, and that's all we can do. But where the pleat section though is also depending on BoxPleatDesigner. Now, I would love to make that. I don't know how to make it generic across the two. And maybe your suggestion earlier of just using the one, making one visible in the right circumstances, so I would have both variables kicking around. Well, gosh, this class is just getting monstrous too. But maybe I've got to do the same thing here. But they're so identical. The slash is pressed. That's regardless, because that's this thing at the bottom. Toolbar. Okay. It's like when you toggle, I've got to swap in the designer, or I've got to make it generic so everybody gets the same thing. This cannot be right. Well, this is the pleats section. I mean, clearly it can't depend on BoxPleatDesigner. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's a good step forward. The problem I have is there's so much variables going in here. Okay, but let's focus on extracting. Okay, and I think I'll leave the section name. That's a little higher decision. Okay, so extend to there. Oh, that is on the section. Let's move this down. So it's on the V stack, which should still be okay. All right, let's run that, make sure. Yeah, that's good thinking. All right, so pleat shape is deactivated. This is deactivated. Okay, that's doing okay. All right, so we've moved some things already. Let's consolidate. Okay, so methods for subviews. And then we'll do the same for this. Grab that. And this. Okay. What did I call it? Completes view. Oh, I did not extract it. Okay. That makes me want to pull this up too. Okay, and rename this. Okay. Okay, everything still looks good. All right, so all right, and now we need a pleats view. Let's take this beast out. Okay, and we're going to want to pass that in, and that in, and that in. Okay. I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it pleat count view. He's got to be a binding, right? Or is he observed object, I think. Oh, and that's that type we got. What is that? PleatView focus. That's my only problem. Okay. Format optional. Okay, I'll use this over in that view, so let's pull it over there. Preview focused. There's no initializers. I don't know why it cares. Use a self in a non-parameter, non-result position. I don't know if it's just this error is throwing it off. Inheriting automatically, that seems unlikely. Okay. And we don't mark it as a binding. All right. Focused field equals nil. Okay. Is it dot wrapped value? Okay, BoxPleatDesigner slash is pressed, focus field. He's still not happy. View inputs cannot be satisfied by a non-final class because it uses self in a non-parameter, non-result position. Where is he using self? Just make it final? I mean, I guess I don't care. All right, we'll try it final. I don't really anticipate extending this, so I can live with that restriction, I guess. Self is used in property. What? Slash is pressed. Seems like that should be the binding. Is it one of those? So I need to put binding in here. Set into it. Okay, let's build. Convert value. Oh, that's the old one. Okay. We'll live without that for a moment. Because what I really want to do is not call PleatView. Okay. Now the view, let's unpause it. To bang the properties. Preview crashed. Where's okay? What does that mean? Well, something's not happy. Now let's try a run. Boom. Okay. Views must be value types. Did I call it a class? Yes. Interesting lack of messages before that. All right. I didn't know that was a runtime error. Okay, we're seeing stuff. Let's get the old test. 9 inches. 1.5. Okay, I mean, things seem to be hooked up. Nothing going on there, but okay. Wow. We saw that once before. How can that be negative? Pleat pixels times absolute gap ratio. Okay, I'm going to let that be for now. All right, check this. I thought it was there, but we'll run it again in a second. We've used this one so many times, I think I trust it more. I think that's still animating. It doesn't seem instant. I don't know if the zoom may be hiding some of that. Okay. All right, I think I ran tests. Okay, do it again. All right, extract pleat count view. All right, and then that means we get to get rid of Pleats view. Monstrosity, okay. And let's make this name generic. Yeah. Hmm. Now I thought that was, I guess too large is okay. It's indicating the problem. Okay, so now we just did a rename. This all depends on designer. All right. Okay. I probably should do that treatment on the others, but I'm going to push on the work we're doing a little bit instead. Okay. Box plate. Well, maybe that would help too. I guess the thing I want to get to is the design of, yeah, the new KnifePleatDesigner. Do they fit as subclasses? Boy, it's got a lot of stuff. I hate nils too. Okay. All right. Is everything identical? It needs required values. Yes. That's a private ideal hip. Yes. Adjusted hip. Plate count times width. That's correct. Hip was adjusted if ideal hip is nil or adjusted as nil, return false. Otherwise, if they're not identical. And then pleat fabric. Well, we certainly need that. Pleat count, pleat width. Gap is irrelevant for knife pleat. So I can just return nil, I guess. Gap label is irrelevant. Total fabric is not. Okay. Yes. All right. Okay, so let's extract a parent. Sorry, a protocol. I don't know if this is going to go the right way. Was adjusted. That's a get. Pleat fabric is setting get. Pleat counts the same. Pleat, sorry, did I do count? Width is getting set. So much stuff. This is a get. An absolute gap. And gap ratio is a double, and gap label is a string. Feeling like the wrong thing is making that decision now. And then total fabric is a get. Okay. Yeah. We need PleatDesigner. I guess I'm just wondering if I can get rid of this. Does not conform. Really. I hate to even go there. Pleat count of double. pleat count. Oh, is int. And is he question mark? No. Okay, let's try this. Well, I feel like So here's what it is. So this, it's like, okay, if I could make it so that everybody's values were always required, life would be better. We wouldn't need that. All the question marks would come off these things. Ideal hip, yeah, I guess we have to get that at some point. But like, some of these derived values, it feels like the thing that wants them should, provide them. But we can provide weird answers. I mean, we don't have to. We can provide nil with nil, 1.0, empty string. They all work. These are real. I mean, this is the heart of the pleatness. This is sort of a consequence. So I don't mind those four. Gosh, I just wonder if hip should be the same. Just like tartan's its own thing, right? That your body measurements are not, I mean, they're an input to your process, but they're not controlled by it. So the get set thing is a little weird. But okay, this is, this should work. Oh, we haven't switched to the protocol. Pleat count view. Okay, so let's make this a PleatDesigner. Build. Type any PleatDesigner. Oh. Maybe I gotta make the parent one observable too. Must be written any PleatDesigner. Any PleatDesigner cannot conform. I'll give it a try, but I don't think it's gonna make life better. Yeah, it still doesn't work. Okay, thank you. Cannot conform. User protocol PleatDesigner must be written any PleatDesigner. Why? Now I could try and make it generic over the type. Then I have to have two. Oh, why? Okay, let's see about how can a protocol conform to observable object Swift. Wrappers and stored properties are not allowed on protocols and extensions, at least for now. Okay, so model. So I can create 2 copies, one on each. Protocol is observable object. Var last entry is published. Observed object var mu wherever my view model. I think that's what we're trying to do. Okay, so we got protocol conforms to observable object. It's marked published on the actual class. And we have to make our struct at this constraint. My view model being the observable. Okay, let's try that. Okay. Cannot assign value. Okay, oh, he's got to be a PD. Okay. All right, that's good. And we're still going to have to make a choice as to which thing to pass in. That's just too bad. Okay, let's make sure this still works. Okay. Probably shouldn't put the word generic in there. Well, it's probably okay. And I feel like this might be able to just be like in here. Just as a syntax thing. And then, I don't know, I'm going to rename this. Usually people just use initials, but all right, now. Okay, again, let's make sure that all works. And all right, now, PleatView. All right, he's got the BoxPleatDesigner. So I think our job is make a KnifePleatDesigner that conforms to this and then plug it in. All right, so let's extract this out. Already needs foundation. I really wish they had a refactoring for this too. All right. And I'm going to do one last bit of reorganization. I think there's enough going on that I should pull the box and knife pleats separate. Plate count, tartan, box plate equation. Okay. Alrighty. Now this is not so bulky. I'm not going to worry about it as much there. Let's make a test for KnifePleatDesigner. Okay. Oops, that goes down here. And Okay, let's see what we got. Underscore before the press date. I'm not sure which class you're asking about. Was it the view? You talking about this one? Yeah. This is because this is a binding we're passing in, and we're trying to change we're setting the value to the value of this. I don't know. Maybe this is. Maybe I should just. Maybe that doesn't belong there now. No, cannot assign the value binding to type pool. Oh, right. The binding is the the hidden thing with the underscore on it. So when you create a binding, the regular name is the bound type, and the underscore is the binding itself. So, yeah. Okay. Pleat count is not equal to 10. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to take these tests from the BoxPleatDesigner tests. Okay. Well, let's see where we are. This should be good now. Okay, so this is create knife pleat designer. Okay, and then the other tests, the other starter test I want is one that's like these unused fields get defaults that we don't care about. So gap is one of those. Okay, so that is gap, absolute gap, gap ratio, gap label. So gap, absolute gap, gap ratio, I think. Gap label. What else? Total fabric we need. Okay, so let's pull this one up. Okay. I guess total fabric should be in here. And 4. Oh, we need this one too. Ideal hip, adjusted hip, hip was adjusted. Yeah, I think some will. I don't know that there's, because the difference is the pleat width is always it's either going to be half inch, 3/4, 1 inch, 1 1/4, anything up to 2 by quarter inches, I guess. And count has to be an int as well. So there's going to be a little different behavior kind of combining those, but similar. All right, required adjusted hip, fabric count, width, total fabric count, width, total fabric. Okay, this should fail because that needs required defaulted to false. Okay. I'm not going to worry about those warnings, but all right. And I don't know about the trivial defaults. I don't think I have those set. Yeah. See right there. Okay. Right. Okay. BoxPleatDesigner tests. All right. When pleat fabric is missing, output variables are nil. That seems like a true thing. Hip is missing. Pleat count. Okay. Okay, pleat fabric is missing, output variables are nil. Right, that seems like it should be true. Hip is missing, output variables are nil, yeah. Okay, pleat count when predecessor values present. Okay, now this one I got to think about. So 20-inch hip, pleat fabric 6, pleat width 1. Okay, then we should need 20. Okay, so if width, when we set width, it should set count to inches. It should set count to hip divided by width. And this will not be true. Okay, so what do we get? We got 10 because we hard coded it. All right. Well, tell you what, let me. Oh, this is not set. It's. It's really setting the pleat fabric. Updates those things. Okay. With gap count. I think that test is also not useful. We'll have to double check these tests. But we have a red test to pick up with tomorrow. So next session is tomorrow, Thursday, 2 to 4:30 Eastern or 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC. Let's see. Is there an object? Anyone have those close? Yeah, no, there's definitely something unsatisfying about some of this. I mean, these ones that are gets, they're pure derivations of all these values. So I don't know. I mean, it's like this stuff is all about the person, but the adjusted hip is a function of our variables, right? Because it's count times width. Maybe that's the same. I don't know. There's something funny going on. There's too many fields coming out of here, and these, I don't know. They're all. Well, the fact is, the knife drawing stuff doesn't need the gaps and has no use for it. So maybe there's a way we can get rid of this. Total fabric is going to be the same for both. Adjusted hip is the same for both. It's all these others. So anyway, we'll see where we go. I want to get the feature together, get the new knife ratio or knife pleat designer in, and then plug it all in, make it work with the two separate ones, and then we can really dig in and see if we can get rid of some of this. It might be better to get rid of it first. I don't know, but there's definitely something weird about needing to define these empty things, getters that we just don't even care about. Maybe there's a separate object that can deal with them. All right, so tomorrow anyway. See, I said 2 to 4:30 Eastern, 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC, and have a good evening. Thanks. Bye-bye.